Hey guys, I called this meeting today to talk about past performance and upcoming sales and demand for the summer. And I want you guys to look at the demand for ice cream in the upcoming summer.
Why do we have to come up with a forecast? Can't we just assume the sales in the summer are going to be the same as the sales in the winter for ice cream?
We can't assume that it'll be the same in the winter as the summer because they are very different times of the year. Forecasting is an important part of managing day-to-day operations, and using forecasting, we can help predict inventory and sales that we will have, and also it will help us with financials.
Being the forecast manager, I know that all operational planning activities start with customer demands. And forecasting is necessary in order to figure out customer demands, and so we're going to have to use it.
So how do we start forecasting?
Well, I'm glad you asked. First, let me tell you about the rules of forecasting. There's two. The first is the forecast is always wrong. The second is the longer the forecast horizon, the worse the forecast. Also, there are two types of methods to figure out the demand. There's judgment and qualitative and causal.
The judgment and qualitative methods rely on estimates based on mainly collecting opinions. A lot of these estimates, some of these estimates are Salesforce estimates, the executive judgment, the historical analogy, the marketing research, and the Delphi method. And these methods are helpful when projecting the long-term forecast. And for the causal method, the demand for that is, as you can see, is highly correlated with other factors such as the economy, interest rates, and even temperature.
So we should use the causal method when predicting ice cream sales in the summer because ice cream sales are highly correlated, or should be highly correlated, with the temperature outside.
Exactly. I want you guys to use the time series forecasting methods, of which there are four: simple moving average, weighted moving average, exponential smoothing, and exponential smoothing with trend. Specifically, I'd like you guys to use the simple moving average and exponential smoothing with trend.
Once we get the results, how will we compare them?
In order to compare our results, we will calculate the mean squared error and the mean absolute deviation for each of our forecasts, and then we'll choose whichever forecast has the lower of the two.
Exactly. So if you guys want to look at a chart of demand over the past couple of years, you can notice that there are peaks during the summer because the demand for the ice cream is higher, and little valleys in the winter because the demand is lower. And if you want to look at some data I have for the past 6 months on two of our top selling ice creams, this is the demand that we've had. I would like you guys to use exponential smoothing with trend and the moving average method to come up with a forecast and then also determine which one is better.
Alright, so for the exponential smoothing for chocolate, I determined that we will sell approximately 62 cones in June, and for vanilla, 66 cones. The mean squared error for chocolate will be 0.87, and the absolute deviation will be 1.25. For vanilla, it will be 1.11 and 1.87.
And with the moving average method, we calculated our chocolate forecast, or our chocolate cone forecast for June was 53, and for vanilla it was 54, where the mean squared error and the mean absolute deviation for the chocolate cones in June were 3.17 and 2.11 respectively. For vanilla, the mean squared error was 2.45, the mean absolute deviation was 2.77. We expect this to happen because the moving average method does not take into account the trend factor like the exponential smoothing with trend equation does.
And since the errors for the exponential smoothing with trend are lower for both chocolate and vanilla, we will use this forecast for both types of ice cream.